Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're doing well today. Crypto Rick, and I am pumped up because not only do I get to talk to you today about Origyn a little bit, but we got a chance to sit down and talk to the founder, and this is absolutely next level stuff. Okay, I want to make sure you know exactly what this is, so I'm going to run through it, but most importantly, guys, I want you to sit back and enjoy the interview, the conversation about this amazing project. So Origyn Art is really a certification platform that's tailored for fine art community, and really just making sure that we're bridging the gap between the NFT world and the physical world, reducing the risk of counterfeit and all of that. So these guys are really combining intelligent technologies and decentralized computing to identify, authenticate, and unlock the powers of ownership for the world's most valuable objects. Okay, this is some absolutely amazing stuff. So I suggest you come over here to origyn.com. I will go ahead and put all the links, of course, in the description below, so you have the opportunity to come over here and check it out. But guys, the OGY token, this token is something you're going to want to take a look at very, very quickly. Okay, it's something that is increasing in utility. It's going to begin increasing in volumes, just simply due to the running of the nodes and the requirement, which you'll hear about in the interview later on. But guys, when I tell you the OGY token is something you're going to want to take a look at, trust me when I say it. It's on MEXC right now, so you can take a look at that. Well, again, all the links will be in the description below. One of the things they've really done is kind of revolutionizing the way the data is run. So these guys run on the Internet Computer. It's IC. It's developed by the Dfinity Foundation. The IC is a revolutionary decentralized global compute platform which is leveraged to mint, maintain, and transfer digital twins. So advanced cryptography, decentralized technology, and it's really a tamper-proof and effectively scalable tech. And that's one of the things that I really like. So when you start seeing what these guys have done, are doing, and most importantly, their partnerships with people like ICP Global, right? Archery, Blockchain, Watchbox, Vector, all of these amazing industry standards when it comes to on and off the chain, right? So Watchbox, if you don't know, these guys sell some of the craziest high-end watches. So they've got a partnership with them to keep the certificates going, so that way you can pretty much verify that the watch is authentic. In order for those certificates to stay active, they need to consume OGY tokens. So again, that's where the utility is going to continue. So as more and more partners get onboarded, as there's more and more products out there that need their certificates, there's going to be more and more OGY tokens being consumed by the network, which is next level stuff. So guys, again, the website is origyn.com. It's all below in the description and all that. I want you to come over here and check it out for yourself. You can see, their luxury brand, their digital media, collectibles, art, right? So you can start digging in to what this means. And when you really start seeing the real world applications of what this technology can do, it gets very, very exciting. I don't know about you guys, but I know there's a huge market for collectibles, and anytime there's a huge market for something, that means unfortunately there'll be a huge black market for it as well, and up to and including counterfeit and fake items. So that's definitely something we know is true. But when you're looking at digital media, when you're looking at collectibles, when you're looking at luxury goods, all of these things are absolutely going to be revolutionized by this type of technology. So they have my attention. This token is on my radar. I scooped up some. I suggest you go take a look at it and see if that's something you want to add to your personal portfolio as well. And with that being said, everybody, sit back, relax, and enjoy this video. All right, well, welcome everybody. Crypto Rick here, and as you just saw, I am very, very excited because Origyn is about to explode onto the NFT space, and we are lucky enough to be joined here with Daniel from Origyn. So Daniel, welcome to the channel.
Thank you very much. It's super cool to be here.
We appreciate you. So if you don't mind, I would love to know a little bit about you and really your background and what you're bringing to the table here with Origyn.
Yeah, cool. So I was born in Switzerland. I grew up in Boston. I was 6 months old when my dad moved over there, and And he was kind of like every year he's like, oh, we're going back to Switzerland now. And it's kind of 40 years later that he finally moved back to Switzerland. So I finished my university. Went to Africa, did some development work for a couple of years, and then I joined Ernst & Young as a junior consultant and spent the better part of sort of the next 20 years, between Ivory Coast, Africa, Vienna, Austria, Sweden, London, New York, Philippines, Doha, South Africa, Egypt, just working in global financial services. When I moved back to Switzerland in 2014, I was a partner at EY. I was head of global financial services for Switzerland, for the advisory business. And, in that space, I moved to Zug and I fell into the crypto rabbit hole. It was the crypto valley. I started hanging out and there's blockchains and beer on Tuesday night. It turned into Crypto Valley Association. I then became elected as chairman of the board of that organization for 3 years. And I was just lost. I was, I had seen the inside of our banking world and I know how much of it runs on Excel. And I saw the purity of the Bitcoin blockchain. And I was transfixed. And so that's how I got into crypto. And I've been working professionally since then in blockchain or Bitcoin and, as a CEO or as a founder.
Nice. Well, heck of a background, right? Talk about what we were talking about off camera is just, experiencing different parts of the world, right? So that's near and dear to my heart. And I knew we had a connection right off the gate, right? Boston guy, right? So look at that. I actually live in the Northeast myself, about a half hour outside of Boston. So there's definitely some ties there. So that's awesome. So when you put all your previous lives together, right, and you saw yourself going down this path that is this amazing technology of blockchain, when you look at those things, what made you want to create Origyn?
Yeah, it's really it's a culmination of a bunch of different things. I was very careful after I was working with Fenbushi Venture Capital and the Swiss Stock Exchange on a DEX actually before I came to Origyn, and I was like, okay, there's like scars on the back, lessons learned. I know what I want, what I don't want, and as I started getting closer to Dfinity, the internet computer, it had a lot of things I was looking for, right? And the next generation of equipment, right? Knowing that, 5 years is a long time in computer terms, it's ages in blockchain terms, and this level of infrastructure can do a lot more. And we're still learning in that space and being surprised every day about the power that the internet computer can actually bring. So that was one of the major alignments. The second is that I was working with a team, that was like the founders that just had the been there, done their track record. We got Mike Schwartz, ex-head of digital consulting from Boston Consulting Group, from Digital Ventures, Vincent, CMO from Audemars Piguet, Gian Boschler, one of the founders of Dfinity, founder of the first broker in Switzerland, founder of ICP Global Fund, so serial entrepreneur in the crypto space. And these guys, they had a great way of working through challenges, and they had a great way of putting the problem first, and then it was like that this was the simplest, most pure use case, and it was just immediately addressed some real challenges in the industry, and that made the click. And then I was I was stuck, and I was like transfixed, and I'm back in the rabbit hole. So
love it. Yes, it's one of the, every time I think that I can't be surprised by blockchain, I am, right? There's a new innovative thing that comes out and you're like, I never even thought about that application, right? So with that, every successful project out there does have a problem that they're trying to solve, right? For the most part, unless you're like Bored Apes or something, they're not solving any problem, just creating problems. I guess that's a great way to tax loss harvest that in this market. But besides that, what is the problem that you're looking to solve right now in the space?
Yeah, I mean, That's an easy one. I think because it goes back to some of the most fundamental sort of primal things, right? If you've ever been defrauded, if you've ever been ripped off, if you've ever bought something that turned out to be fake, you know, it wakes in you, at least it does in me, sort of this caveman experience, right? I want to go out and get a club and bash somebody or something, you know, so I can feel, you know, some sort of restitution. And it's not the fact that I, you know, lost some money. It's really the fact that somebody pulled one over on me. And I think that creates so much friction. And for me, this is really the difference between a web 2 application and a web 3 application. In a web 3 application, we're just learning what that means. So if you think of Origyn as, you know, soul bound NFTs for objects, then there's probably worse ways than describing what we do, right? So we use Dfinity's more powerful infrastructure to store ultra high resolution images that allow us to do matching and recognize objects again. And so that exists. There's one of them, and it's out there, and it belongs to this guy, and it's real. You know, having that as a guarantee is and a worldwide guarantee that we stand behind with the Swiss Foundation. That's powerful, and that removes so much friction from so many different places, metaverse places, marketplaces, peer-to-peer exchanges and dexes, and again, it's not just the digital version, but it's that link to the real solid object and the physical object, and yeah, that's easy to understand so that people get it.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, I'm all about mass adoption and getting the non-crypto enthusiast to utilize crypto, to utilize blockchain. So that's near and dear to my heart, right? So collectors can understand how the blockchain technology can actually help them from getting defrauded, from getting scammed and ripped off with all these fakes out there. Because if you can make it, they can fake it, right? So that's one of the things that really jumped out at me for what you guys are doing here. So utilizing the NFTs is obviously a big part of what you guys plan on doing. So what types of NFTs can we see or expect to see from Origyn here in the future?
Well, so Origyn is really, and this is great because we have our CTO is, you know, he's one of the coolest CTOs I've ever had the privilege to work with, and he is. He's so good under pressure, and he still gets stuff to market, but he's also really kind of raised the bar as far as what we're doing. And what we offer as Origyn is, because we have this much more, like, we can stream HDMI video from chain resources, right? That's huge, right? Whereas in Ethereum, you know, how many bits do you get for smart contract? We can stream 4K video, right? I mean, that's insane. Now, if you take that and you kind of, and so we also have the ability to uniquely bond a physical object because of some of the authentication. We have insurance covering everything. We got a wallet with services. So it's really kind of like what he calls Origyn is an experience operating system. And NFTs are experiences, right? They offer access to gated communities. They offer access to exclusive stuff. They allow you to collect things, and which itself is an experience. But if you master the collections, then you're opening more experiences potentially for you in the future. And what we offer is the infrastructure to create such a rich experience that you need an operating system to run it. But we're not the ones out there really doing the production, right? We'll do some stuff and we'll show people the path. But that's where the ecosystem jumps in. That's where we work with nodes, you know, like Watchbox and others who understand the market, like Grail Watches in Singapore, and some of these guys that are really like doing some amazing things with luxury goods, with art, and with collectibles. And they're the ones that are constructing these narratives basically around what the experience should be, you know, accompanying the 2024 to 2028 Championships League, right? You know, which virtual players do you have to collect in order to be eligible to ride in the private jet to the semifinals with your team? You know, what proof of attendance tokens are going to accompany your in-stadium experience, and how do we store that in a wallet, right? We give them the tapestry against which they can do that, but it's not us that does all of that engineering. So like we're often, the people come to us with these things where they challenge us, and then we turn to our wonderful CTO and we say, okay, let's get this, we need level 2 of this experience operating system now, and it needs to do this. And so it's a fantastic moving feast. But what you're going to see, and this coming in the next weeks, is the type of collectibles that just have a depth to them, that they really become assets in their own right. But then the ability to collect them on a scale that unlocks true experience in the future for the owner, and that's really cool.
Nice. Yeah, and I love that future outlook, right? One thing we always love on this channel is being early, right? So the fact that we are just in the baby stages of what this thing is going to grow into is exciting for me. So I have to ask, one of the things I really get excited about is the roadmap. So what does the Origyn luxury roadmap look like right now?
Yeah, well, when I look out the window, and at the rest of the crypto market, to be honest, we're not that concerned, right? We have nodes coming online now that are going to be staking millions of dollars worth of tokens, buying them from the open market. That's our economy, and as they start to get online and they start to mint certificates in tens of thousands, and that's happening right now. Each certificate needs to buy and consume OGY tokens in order to exist, and so you're going to see we've got the car in idle now. We're going to start to ease it out on the track, and you're going to see the economy that's created in luxury and art really start to get traction. That's super exciting. And then as we start to evolve that, you're going to see the ability to collect and to be rewarded. You're going to see a much more natural sort of Web3 onboarding experience. We've been focusing an awful lot of time on how to get people onto Web3 painlessly and seamlessly, how to remove some of the chores of the recovery seed, and how do we do multi-party sig so that that it's really an easy jump, because we're like you say, we're at the vanguard. We're still doing an awful lot of education on the side of the customers, also on the side of the market. We work with an army of the willing, and that's really going to be our focus. Again, looking at the weather, we're going to keep our head down, and we're going to focus on getting product to market, and we're going to focus on getting the adoption. We've got the right partners, we've got the right teams, and next time people are going to, while everybody's looking at their candlesticks, we're going to be quietly getting adoption. That's going to be that's really what you can look forward to, is us doing what we said on the tin, and getting on with it.
Nice. Yeah. And adoption is the only true way to grow something long term, right? You see the pump and dumps from speculation and just the trade because somebody was doing TA and all that stuff that comes with being on any exchange, right? That's part of the game that we play. But at the end of the day, adoption trumps all, right? The use cases trump all. And the ability to, see the problem, solve the problem, get the adoption, and get the buy-in from the community that this is something that's necessary is a huge win. So with that being said, I know the luxury good space is an issue, right? There's a lot of fraud, a lot of fake, but how big of a problem is that counterfeit issue in luxury goods right now?
Well, it's funny because most of the watch companies and most of the luxury goods brand would deny it's an issue with their brand, of course, right? So it's a little bit difficult to tell, but it is massive. And I think what it's, if you kind of expand that just a little bit, we're talking to people like David Beckham, and he's huge in China. He's absolutely a king, and he doesn't sell any of his memorabilia. And so people like really kind of travel because he's afraid of the ability to counterfeit. Now, we don't have AI that'll automatically identify anything. It takes a very long time to increase the AI, and it takes a lot of hours. So we started with watches. We can do jewelry, handbags, and other things in the future, and as these sort of AI products get layered in. But we're already in a space, even without the AI, that we can ensure the authenticity, and we we have an insurance vehicle that's underwritten by some Lloyd's of London partners, right? So it's an extremely good insurance, and that then it becomes enough. So if you don't have the absolute certainty with AI backed authentication, well, it's still insured, so there's still somebody to jump into in your space. And I think that for the brands, again, Rolex and those guys, they've stopped telling you if you send in a watch if it's fake or counterfeit now. There's been too many fights. My dad gave me this watch, or my grandpa, or wherever. The Pulp Fiction story, right? But what it's really doing is so it affects the user, and we're an app for the consumer. We're a non-for-profit Swiss organization, and ultimately, we're there to let people, is the person who's trying to sell me something the person who owns it? Is the object he's trying to sell me authentic? And is there anything else I should know about it? That's at the core of what we do, right? And that takes away so much friction from online transaction, market transaction, NFT transaction, and also, interestingly enough, metaverse with regular transactions, right? So there's one thing that we're doing in the metaverse where it's gaming, complex, sim city based kind of, but you go up in a Tower of Babel, and on one floor you get to unlock a virtual Rolex. But in this case, it's actually linked to a digital certificate. And if you unlock the virtual one, you actually get the real one. And that's super cool, right? So we're trying to span this scarcity issue. This scarcity in metaverse is what makes things, metaverse without scarcity is like a Ryanair flight. You got to run across the tarmac and fight your way to get the best seat, right? And that's not the way most people like enjoying life, right? Most people pay a little bit more for a little bit more luxury, and that's what you get with Origyn.
Nice. So kind of linking that NFT space, what are you seeing as the most important trend right now in the NFT space?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan. I think that the soulbound concept is going to take off. I think that all of Web3 requires sort of these this sort of ZK snark, zero knowledge proof type identity. Prove that you're over 18 without showing me why I should believe you. And we've all been kind of looking up, for this oracle to come along that we can all trust. We all know that if such a thing does come along, it would be very centralized, and possibly government related, and a whole bunch of reasons why we wouldn't want to have it. So moving that kind of whole thought into these soulbound NFTs creates another thing. Maybe I can be my own identity provider, because I can provide this stuff in a soulbound NFT, and with ZK Snarks, I can create this architecture that does that. And I think that really kind of unlocks another layer of enablement to allow NFTs to really do stuff in the real world, right? It gets you to the VIP zone. It allows you to be in clubs and experiences that you couldn't get into before, not just in the real world, but also in the metaverse. And that those kind of communities are what you mentioned earlier, is that that's one of the real exciting things, is you find like-minded people, not just because they're in your physical area or in the pub that you go to, but globally, and interact with the ones that you like the best, and that's really cool. I think that's probably one of the most important trends.
Nice. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more, right? Just that community feel, and the fact that so many things can be solved with what started as a JPEG on a screen, right? That's what the NFTs started as, just a JPEG on a screen linked to this crazy thing called a blockchain. And then now just watching it morph into something completely different with some amazing real world utilities is just another level of excitement that I get over this entire space that we're in. So speaking of excitement, I saw you guys had this partnership. You touched on it with Watchbox. So tell me a little bit about that partnership and why everybody should be excited about that.
Well, because Watchbox is an absolute expert in a market called the certified pre-owned market. This is for those of you who know it. This is the This is the Omega Snoopy. I got it for my birthday, and it's my absolute favorite watch at the moment. And it's a crypto watch, right? Because on the back there's Snoopy and a rocket ship going to the moon. Because of astronauts and real moon stuff. But for crypto people, that also means something, right? And I got it from Watchbox with all the papers and all the stuff. And having had the privilege of working with them a bit and seeing their operations, these guys are absolute experts at authenticating goods. And it's important to remember that Origyn is a certification company. We're not an authentication company. We don't have the watchmakers. We do have some watchmakers, but we don't have watchmakers in 10s and 20s like some of these companies do. And so we need these nodes to be powerful in the ecosystem and do the authentication for us. And what we can do is just like we'll never be the art expert that let's say an opera gallery is or a Gaussian gallery, at the same time, they will never, be the blockchain experts that we are, and they will never set up a Swiss foundation that's driven by listed token economy, to charge it all. That's not what they're good at. And so it's and as a non-for-profit B Corp certified or pending certification, they can install this trust in the Swiss organization that we're not trying to edge in a sort of a thin paywall between them and their clients, right? We're really just trying to help them provide a better certificate of authenticity and an insurance product that jumps in case there's an issue. And I think that's at the crux of it.
Nice. So obviously there's a lot happening with the project, right? So many things heading down the pipe. I'm super excited to see where you guys can take it. But the OGY token is tradable right now, right? So where is it? Where can everybody get their hands on it? What's the current price? And where do you think this thing is going to be going here in the short and long term?
Yeah, I mean, so it's a utility token. I'm sure our regulators at some point will also watch this video, right? So I'm not none of this is investment advice. What I can tell you though is that the Origyn token does have an actual utility, and in that utility is basically that every one of our certificates exists for a certain amount of time, and you use our token to pay the internet computer to allocate memory and RAM and processing power to basically remember that this certificate exists. So when you stop paying, at some point that certificate might get written over in its memory space in the data center somewhere by something else. And so of course we don't allow that to happen. And there's funds that go around kind of like nice meter maids topping everybody up. But at the same time, there's a real utility to the token and it powers the system. The second is that in order for a node to authenticate, they have to stake a bunch of tokens. And there's a scarcity amongst the nodes, and the first 10 get in kind of cheap, right? But it's still hundreds of thousands of dollars of tokens that they need to buy. And we have about 20 nodes coming online just over the course of the summer, right? So you can do the math. There's millions of dollars of token demand that's going to be buying. These companies are going to come online. They're going to buy certificate. They're going to mint certificates in the tens of thousands, and those certificates are going to need tokens to exist. And if users want to move sort of from a basic certificate to a premium certificate, then once again they have to buy and upgrade with tokens. And then ultimately, if we're really good at making money, in Origyn, because we're a non-for-profit, it all flows to the foundation. And then they buy back the excess tokens and burn them with any proceeds that they have so that they keep their non-for-profit status, right? And that's written into our mission statement. And we're a B Corp certified or pending B Corp certified. We're one of the only crypto companies in the world that has that status, which means we're good guys, basically. It's written in our constitutions, our statutes, and everything else.
I love it. Well, I mean, you got my attention here with this one, right? Because as we talked about, the adoption to me of non-crypto users, that's our next hurdle in this space to overcome. So the more ways that we can link our intangible, right, our fake stuff, as they like to call it, to the real stuff, I think that's one of the huge benefits that the blockchain technology can help with. And I really am excited about what you guys are putting together here. I'm pumped up about the OGY token itself, but more importantly, what you guys are doing out there for the ecosystem, right, for the space as a whole. I'm all about working together with many projects, many different places throughout the world in coming together for a common good. And the fact that you guys are not just doing this for profit, right? But are doing this to solve some problems, and doing this the right way is absolutely inspiring. And I hope everybody else understands that, because you could have easily launched this not as a non-for-profit, right? And made tens of millions of dollars in profit relatively quickly, relatively easily, right? I mean, that's just what we see in this space. It's a wild space like that. So it's amazing that all of that's going to end up going back to the community, back to the foundation. And man, that's some next level stuff right there. So I just want to thank you, from a member of the space, for doing it the right way, and making sure that, you know, we can put some good guys in the driver's seat in this crypto market that gets a lot of negative attention, you know, because that makes good news.
Yeah, and thanks a lot for giving us the opportunity to introduce you and some more of your team to you know, to what we do. Just to answer the question, which might be slightly important for those who do want to purchase the tokens, we're available on MEXC Global. You know, the price is holding stable. We again, just keep an eye on it. You know, and it's going to be great. But absolutely, I mean, you know, it's this is the time when you see sort of the projects that have a good idea, but maybe not all of the, you know, components in the toolbox. You know, some of those are going to start to sort of realize that they're missing some critical aspects, and you're going to see a natural consolidation in the space. And we're also looking forward to you know, to seeing some of, you know, we've already had a couple offers from companies that aren't going to make it because of the crypto winter, you know, wishing to consolidate with us. And it's fantastic to see that, you know, we can give them a bit more roadmap and a way to continue to working, you know, and to salvage, you know, some of the, you know, trauma that's happening right now on the markets.
Yeah, it's a crazy place out there, right? That's for sure. So consolidation is always important, not just on your chart when you're doing TA, right? But it's absolutely important in all spaces, just like the quote unquote .com bubble of the 90s, right? Everybody likes to reference that, but then I remind them that we in fact still do use the internet and these things called websites. So the strong will survive, the ones that innovate, the ones that build, and to our point earlier off camera, the ones that are putting their head down and focusing on the product and making something that is needed those are the ones that are going to succeed. So I appreciate you taking the time out here for us today. I'll put all the links in the description below for everybody. So if you want to buy it, I'll put the link to MEXC Exchange. I'll put the link to all their websites and all their socials, all that fun stuff for you guys, as always. So thanks again, Daniel. We appreciate your time today. And until next time, everybody, happy crypto hunting.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.